Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us on Daybreak on Trust Television. Now we're going to talk about what's happening in Nigeria currently. So our interactive segment, where of course we love to hear from you. We're going to talk about a critical issue that affects us all, regardless of our geographical location or socio-economic status. So the Land Use Act of 1978 was enacted to ensure efficient use of land in Nigeria. However, more than 4 decades after its enactment, the act has been criticized for its shortcomings, which have hindered its ability to achieve its objectives. For instance, in Lagos State, the act has been used to justify the demolition of homes and businesses, leaving many residents without shelter or livelihoods. Now, according to a report by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, that's NBS, over 10,000 homes were demolished in Lagos State between 2015 and 2020. Talking about just 5 years, affecting over 50,000 people. Imagine 50,000 people losing either their homes or their businesses. Now, in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, the FCT, the act of, that's the Land Act, has been used to allocate land to wealthy individuals and organizations while denying access to land for the low-income residents. According to a report by the Abuja-based NGO, that's the Center for Transparency and Accountability, it says that over 70% of land allocations in Nigeria between 2010 and 2020, about 10 years, went to the wealthy individuals and organizations in the FCT. Now, nationally, the act has been criticized for its failure to address the issue of land ownership and management. According to a recent survey, about 75% of Nigerians believe that the Land Act has failed to address the issue of land ownership and management in the country. Now, there was a survey, and it showed about over 75% of people are saying we don't see the use of this Land Act because it's not really solving the issues that it should have been. That's the intention when it was enacted in the 70s. So this is what, of course, we want to talk about. This is what we want to see. We want to address. We want to hear from you about this issue. What are the challenges, or some of the challenges that you have faced with the Land Use Act in your state? Have you or someone have to face and battle using first a battle of losing their own properties or businesses because of the Land Use Act? Situations like that. Have you faced any land disputes or other issues related to land use? This is what we want to dive into. So we're going to open the phone line to hear from Nigerians, and numbers will be displayed on your devices. You can reach out to any of the numbers, but you can send a WhatsApp message via the first WhatsApp number. Let's hear from you. Recently, of course, like I said, there've been a back and forth with the FCT minister, Yasom Wike, of demolitions, where we see residents and even indigenes of the FCT, get triggered up and getting angry about losing their own buildings. All right, let's pick this first call. Good morning.
Good morning, Summayya.
Yes, good morning.
Calling from Maiduguri.
It's good to have you this morning, Shatima. Let's hear your take.
Well, Summayya, the issue of land and demolition, it become under. Why did I say so? Because if you look at even we, the masses, some of us were not following the rules, to be sincere. You will go and build where you are not, even you are safe, you know that you are not supposed to build there. No, do not even talk about the authority, did not talk to you. You are not supposed to build. Somebody will build near the river bank so that he will be creating difficulties for the flow of the river. So this, to be sincere, is not right. And some people, if the project come to the site, government want to make a public project, and if their land was collected, they will be making noise. which it is under law, because the interest of people supersede your own interest. Because this is a public project. Let's say they want to construct a road, and your land have to be encroached. So the best thing is to compensate you, and they have to collect the land, because this is a public project. They want to create a road for a smooth operation, which is to me is not bad. Like here in Maiduguri, we have witnessed so many things. People are making complaints, despite the fact that the governor had making a good compensation. He paid them better. And some, the money that they pay, they buy a very bigger house than the one they have collected. You see, to be sincere, sometimes we have been making a baseless criticism. To be sincere, sometimes we are the one that the cause of the problem. We will not tell the inside story truly. We hide some things and be making unnecessary complaints.
Yeah.
Let's say in a word, a government see that there is a need to build a clinic. When your house was full under the one that they want to collect, you will start making complaints. They just collected my house. You see, so the clinic is far more important than your shelter. The most important thing is government, they should compensate people properly. If your land was collected for public project, you will compensate it. If at all compensation become adequate and properly, nobody will make complaint.
All right, Shatima, are you still with us?
I'm still with you.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask about this also allegations that an NGO is putting forward, saying that in the FCT for the past 10 years, the federal government tends to sell more lands to wealthy people than an average Nigerian. What's your take on that?
Well, all is a mere speculation. We cannot, I cannot judge what I don't know, honestly speaking. I was not in Abuja. I don't know how they are doing it. So, as I told you, stories are becoming, where channel of the story differs. Sometimes something will happen, the way they will narrate to you is quite different.
Okay.
So I cannot honestly say, because what Wiki is doing, to me, honestly, there is justification.
Okay.
That is justification, because it's not doing what is contrary to the law. At all, if he is doing what is contrary to the law, there is authority to checkmate. So if the authority do not checkmate, that's why the problem lies.
Okay. All right, thank you so much for that, Shatima. I appreciate you always for calling in to share your take on that one. So Shatima, So Shatima is saying that sometimes we cause these issues as well. I remember there was this story. It's alleged that when I think during Nasser El-Rufai ministerial tenure here, that there was this, when he was carrying out a lot of demolition, there was a thought that the Abuja Kefi highway was going to be broadened out, to create an extra space, because that is the only road that leads right from Benue, Makurdi and all of that. That is the only road that leads to the FCT. But then immediately people started hearing that, there could be a demolition of shops around there. Other people immediately that had an empty land decided to start building up because they wanted, extra money. After they do, they would give you money as a compensation. So that was alleged story. But things like that could happen. I'm not saying it is. It is alleged, but it just shows that as much as there is blame here, there should be also blame there. the word that says if you're pointing a finger and look at the other one, it's pointing right back at you, kind of situation that is happening. Talking about flood that's happening, of course, people, one of those, estate that has suffered the most is the Trademore Estate, because it's in the waterway, and it has caused a death of one person. I remember, I think last year's flood, a really sad situation that happened there. So I get where Shatima is coming from in terms of that. But then there is a lot of talk and allegations and speculations and survey. People are saying something is wrong with the Land Use Act. So what is your take on that? Good morning. Do we still have the caller on the line?
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Yeah, my name is Olatunde. I'm calling you from Lagos.
Good to have you from Lagos. Let's hear your take. Please tone down the volume of your device and talk to us through your phone.
Okay, yeah, I've turned it down.
Okay.
Yeah, I just did that. Yeah. Okay. I want to contribute on your topic. I am a real estate consultant, and I've been in the industry for close to a decade right now. The purpose of the Land Act use, it's actually being implemented. I think what the Land Act use simply means is that every land belongs to the government. So the government have autonomy to revoke any property, but that doesn't mean that the government does not recognize the dweller or the owner of the land. So here in Lagos, what we are majorly facing is just the moneyless problem. When you buy properties from them, you buy landed properties from them, probably they sell it to other, you understand? So you have to drag back and forth, court and every other thing, you understand? But what is happening in Abuja through the minister, demolitions of some properties and stuff like that, if those properties are built on government landed property, on government acquisition land, definitely they will be demolished. But the ones that have been demolished, if they have the right documents, you understand, they can always be compensated. Sometimes what I realize or what really happens is that in most states there is always a map what the government wants to actually build in those states. So any government that comes in, we look at, in this area, let's do something quite different. So because of that, you understand, most of these properties are always being affected. Maybe they want to dualize road and they find out that your houses or your houses is being built on the road. Definitely they will demolish it, you understand? But the most important thing that I believe the government should do is to compensate those people, not just by demolishing their property without being compensated. You understand? Which I feel is not too good, because if you are to look at the acts, governments have every right to take any landed property because of that Land Act use. You understand? They have every right to take anybody's property or whatever, but in a genuine form. And I can see that is exactly what is playing out in Abuja today. You understand? So people should be compensated if their houses or their land is being grabbed or being demolished. To violate, they have the right title documents on that land. But in most time, people build houses on government acquisition land, and you live in that area for years, for 15 years, 10 years, and respectively. You understand? So by the time the government wakes up that, okay, we want to make use of this land, that is when the demolition start coming in. You were forgetting that this land that you have built on the house you have built on this land have been on government acquisition. People fail to do due diligence when they acquire properties. You understand? And that is the reason why they need to do a proper consultation with a real estate consultant to verify how genuine this property is before I embark on building. You understand? Some people might be lucky they'll be on the property. I've seen several a friend of mine that their father house got demolished when they want to dualize the road, and the house has been there for more than 15 to 20 years. But along the line, you find out that the house was built on government acquisition, on the land that belongs to the government. So when they start demolishing, you look at the government have done something bad. Not only that you were the one that did not do your own due diligence, but I feel that if the government is demolishing people's property, at least they should verify and compensate those that have a genuine title document on that land.
Yeah. I just have one question for you, please. You're still here. Now, there's been a bit of concern that the Land Use Act should be at least looked into and adjusted. What's your take on that?
Can you come again, please?
Okay, it's about the concern about the Land Use Act. Some people are speculating that perhaps it should be looked into and adjusted. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It should be looked into and adjusted. But if you look at the purpose of that act, it was actually enacted in 1978. And the purpose of that act was because people were leasing lands lands were being leased out. People which affect development in some areas at that time. People were being stingy. Instead of them to sell land for developmental purpose, they lease it out to people. And that is the reason why the Land Act was being enacted in 1978. That is to say that every land belongs to the government. The moment the act was enacted, people started selling land for developmental purpose. But I feel that this act should be looked into again and remodified so that government should not have 100% autonomy. Because the way the act is that the government has 100% autonomy on any land. You understand? Whether they find oil, they have the right to demolish your house because of this act. So I feel that it should be like something of like maybe 70-30, not just like you just wake up that you have to, you understand, because of the act. So I think the act should be remodified somehow, you understand?
Okay.
I feel it should be remodified,
All right. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for calling in with...
you're welcome.
Thank you so much. All right. You heard from someone who has been part of real estate, talking about, explaining the details of this. But we want to hear from others as well. What have you ever had to face a land dispute? How was it handled? Was the Land Use Act used in some kind of way to address that particular issue? Let's hear your take on that. Do we have another caller? Good morning. All right, go ahead, call us. You can send WhatsApp message via the first number on that. Let's hear your take. Let's find possible solutions for what is going on in our country. Good morning.
How are you?
Yes. Your name and where you're calling from?
This is Brian calling from Yola.
From Yola. Okay, good to have you.
Yeah.
Let's hear your take.
Yeah, the issue is this. Sometimes we like to blame people who own land because government has power to do whatever it wants to do. The issue is this. Where are those institutions that start dealing with the issue of making sure that people don't build on illegal lands? What are they? Town planners, urban development board. All these institutions, what are they doing? We have this tendency to wait for people to build houses and they will just go about demolishing them because of power. Who approved those buildings? And we're talking about Land Use Act. These governors, we don't see they have so much power that nobody can challenge them. You are in opposition with the government. He wakes up, say that because he didn't campaign for, he didn't vote for him. You see your land and say he's going to build a public school. Meanwhile, the existing public schools, how does he take it care of? So much fellow is being very good. All in the name of politics. But the issue is that he's just land grabbing and trying to stifle people from owning land. This is happening across the country. So institutions must sit up and make sure that I don't build my house and then come 10 years later and say you want to demolish it because it's an illegal land. How did I get a land in the first place?
Yeah.
Besides, what is happening to the Customer Land Use Act? That's what you call Customer Land Use Act. Why are we not talking about it? It is just who own land and they sell it to people. What have the town planners done to incorporate this customer land to former land use? What are we doing about it? So we have this tendency of just trying to destroy ourselves. This is my take. We just want to destroy ourselves.
Yeah.
10 millions of naira to build a house
You come back 20 years and say it's illegal, you demolish it in 1 hour, and just move on. How many land have been demolished, and how many people have been put back on those lands? Let's ask ourselves. Government says that we want to demolish my house. We want to demolish my house. 5 years on, the land is still better. Nothing's happening to it. So what was the essence of that demolition? So we should stop just trying to use laws to just protect ourselves. We should do things in the interest of the people. Government is for the people, not for individuals. We should be very careful how we use laws to just measure people out in this country.
Yeah.
It's not fair. Yeah, it's not very fair here. So this land usually we are talking, all the governments have a land. During the Shagari era, when we wanted to build Shagari housing estate, governors went and gave them swamp land to build houses. Swamp land. Because they were in the opposition.
Yeah.
Today, where are those houses from? Where are they? They're destroyed. Nobody's talking about those properties. But we're busy chasing opposition and political opponents to destroy their houses because we're in power. We will continue. The issue is that one day we wake up and we have no house to live in, and nobody will know where to live. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that call. Yes, I think there has been little call to authorities that should have even avoided the fact that there should even be a land or a building in a particular place. And that is another call. So yes, great talk on that one. We've had situations where things happen and we say, what were the authorities in charge of that particular situation doing, before it even happened? And that's a case of what our previous caller is also saying, that it's not fair. The process of the land might have been done, through the past administrations and all of that, and it was allowed. The body in charge of making sure things like this do not happen were not perhaps doing their job as they should. And hence the reason why someone will feel comfortable and starts building. People don't magically build, raise a building in just a few days. Sometimes it takes years. And this building will be there, and then authorities will not be checking to make sure that these buildings were at least told, checked to know if it's illegal or legal, to address it earlier. That is what our previous caller is talking about. And yes, we appreciate you on that one. So the Land Use Act, of course, has a lot of it. As I said earlier, Nigerians should have read so that we'll get to have more conversation on this. But it's about the vesting of all lands in the state. There is a control and management of how the land would be, advisory bodies. There is designation of about urban areas, applicable law for the interim management of law. And the concern is that some people feel that the Land Use Act, it's not really favoring Nigerians as it should, which every bill should come. The most important thing is the country and the people comes first, right? So there is that concern. There is a back and forth. So far, the FCT minister has been stopped. That we see the National Assembly, the senator saying, put a pause on the demolition first, because it has garnered a lot of reactions on social media where the an estate has been targeted. Basically it wants to be demolished by the FCT minister, and people are saying it shouldn't be so because the FCT residents are crying. We've been hearing a lot of concerns, and currently they're saying they should stop, because we saw a representative of the FCT, that's Senator Ireti Kingibe, to putting out motion for there should be at least a look into that. And of course I give kudos to her for standing up for her people, because that is why she was voted there, right? But then the FCT minister is saying it's a cheap blackmail, and he will not yield to cheap blackmail. But I said earlier, I think last week, that just like the tax reform bill that people are pushing, there is something about democracy. Democracy is all about majority. So if majority of people are calling to say, hey, there's something wrong with this thing, then I think it's time for the minister to just sit down and look into it more properly, so that we cannot, the most important thing is to make sure Nigerians are comfortable in their country, everybody is thriving, not to make people more poorer, by losing their homes. and hopefully we get to find a better solution for Nigerians and the country. And yes, please, if you have any land that you have yet to build on, make sure you go through all the processes, make sure it's standing on the right place, because at the end of the day, we also have to make sure our environment are done properly, clean, to avoid flood and a lot of disasters. Now we'll take a break. Appreciate everyone for calling in and sharing your take on this. Really, really appreciative when you hear Nigerians calling to, talk about certain situation, because for some that know, they're saying, given their 2 cents. For those that don't know, are now aware of it. Let's keep up with more digging on our own country. Now we'll take a break, and when we come back, we will have a guest to double dive into this discussion and perhaps look at it really well. So make sure you stick to the station and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.